Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, hey, we got Sarah Boone. She's not happy. She has been writing letters, more letters, to the judge, Judge Wooten, and she's not a happy camper about her lawyer, Frank Berkowitz. And I can understand some of her issues, but here is a brief piece from Law and Crime to catch everyone up on the case against Sarah Boone.
We're getting a closer look inside the mind of Sarah Boone, the woman accused of murdering her boyfriend by zipping him up into a suitcase. In another series of handwritten letters sent from jail, Boone calls out her defense attorney, arguing she hasn't heard from him in months as her case inches closer to trial. She also sends a message to the presiding judge saying, quote, "My case has turned into an unnecessary witch hunt," and later asks, quote, "What's your cut?"
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
F*** you.
Sarah.
F*** you.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
Florida prosecutors say the 44-year-old murdered her boyfriend, 42-year-old Jorge Torres Jr., in February 2020 by putting him in a suitcase and leaving him there to die. At the time, Boone told investigators she and Torres had been drinking and playing a game of hide and seek. After that, Boone says she went to sleep and woke up hours later when her phone rang. That's when she says she found Torres unresponsive. Officials say Torres was zipped inside the suitcase for hours. Shocking cell phone video was later released showing Boone speaking to Torres while he was inside that suitcase.
So again, I'm going to go through some of her letters. And this one here is dated May 15th. And I want to correct that her attorney's name is Berkowitz, or Bankowitz. I keep saying that name wrong. But this is to Judge Wayne Wooten. He's the judge presiding on her case. And she's pretty well written, in parts. She goes on to say, perspective, Merriam-Webster's dictionary. I wonder how many people are going to actually look up the definition to see if it's the same. I wonder also how many website hits the word perspective will get. Definition. 1. The science of painting or drawing so that objects represented have apparent depth and distance. 2. The aspect in which a subject or its parts are mentally viewed, a view of things as objects or events in their true relationship or respect or relative importance. Please review so everyone has a clearer, better understanding of my continued concerns, hindrances, questions, and frustrations with the, quote, justice system, unquote, and the solid, absolute remissiveness of my case and the due process of MI, and have been waiting very patiently and maintaining what I can since no one else has or will, it seems, and I feel at this point, 6 attorneys later, 39 months, almost 3.5 years, which I will make, and not by choice. I need to make all aware of my immense struggle with the extreme mismanagement of my case to date. Again, she has gone through a lot of attorneys, and a lot of the struggle is due to the attorneys, and there are some issues that the system has not done well for her on. But we will go through that a bit. Let's look at the bigger picture or perspective to get a better view of what I've had more than enough time to see and realize. I'm hoping by doing so, eyes can finally be opened and very overdue, long for progress and finalization can be had. The growing amiss of ignorance, manipulation, slander, and advantageous gain must stop. My truth needs to be heard, and it's my right. Do not give me rights expecting me to not fully utilize them. I voted for the president and governor while here in jail, and stop violating what I've been trying to utilize or lessen the value of my capabilities and opportunities. I am not apologetic in any way for being an observant, hardworking, above average, non-stereotypical inmate. I can only imagine, sadly, how others are not as outspoken as myself have been and are being mistreated, overlooked, and dehumanized. Get it together. I do agree with her that it does seem like her attorneys have been less than stellar, and she is correct. She deserves to be treated with, dignity enough to get her fair trial. Regardless of the fact if you're guilty or not, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law in this country, and she has a right to all of the rights that we are given in the Constitution. So she's making some valid points here. Judge Wayne C. Wooten, number one, at what point do you evaluate and intercede in a case to make sure there is proper advancement, regular communication between the attorney and client, ethical treatment of client is being upheld, time frames are being met, etc.? Clearly you know of and have known of the prolongation of my difficulties from your comments regarding my letters, but with no intervention from you to change anything for a better, less problematic process. You've told me in the past when I've tried to voice my legitimate concerns to you in the courtroom, 5 times total in 3.3 years, and my letters to save it for my next attorney, if told anything at all. Do tell, Your Honor, which attorney. I'm on my 6th, whom I've not seen in person for over another 3-month period, 12 weeks, 89 days, and counting. Yeah, that is unacceptable. She is supposed to be going to trial, hopefully finally, in July. July 11th is supposed to start the getting everything set in, jury, and I believe it's the 24th, of July that the actual trial is set to begin at this point. Frank Bankowitz has been appointed as my attorney by the court to represent me in my case and has been for 10 months and counting. Total approximate hours of representation, 7,200. Total times attorney met with client Sarah Boone, 6. Yet in 10 months, yeah, that's pretty bad. Phone numbers given to client by attorney, 2. Phone calls answered from client by attorney, 0. Outside sources calling attorney on behalf of client, 3. Phone calls, emails, voicemails answered by attorney, 0. Letters client sent to attorney trying to communicate, 7. Letters defendant client sent to judge trying to communicate, animate attorney in unsuccessfulness, 5. 15-minute video visits between attorney and client, 3. Attended court dates scheduled, 2. I was an attempted withdrawal, the other an allowance to finally be included in my PTC, which was the same information carried over from all the others. Now what? 2. Why are you allowing enabling my constitutional rights to be continuously violated? History lesson for everyone. First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, Eighth Amendment, 14th Amendment. So again, we have looked over some of these in the past cases. Even we just looked up the Sixth Amendment with Kohlberger. So she's definitely educated. And, we all know that, I believe she's completely guilty of this. But again, she has rights. And she's clearly stating that she's not being treated, correctly. And I applaud her for that. 3. Why I am being judged for my legitimate letters I write in order to know the status of my case or attorney and how much longer before something substantial occurs in the process of 3.3 years later, other than the inappropriate prejudgments being made due to the excessive amount of my case information online. Bigger and meaner fabrications of my case-sensitive details in which I have not seen, and even greater mind-numbing one-sided ignorance. If I didn't write my letters, would you or anyone be aware of my rightful concerns still and ongoing? It is a perpetual question mark over a defendant's head, in the norm during a case due to inactivity, no communication, no help or intervention, or answers being given by anyone in the justice system. Honestly, what has been done about or with any of my letters other than being scanned, uploaded incorrectly, I made sure to correct so everyone's up to speed on my case status. Unfortunately, it is all I have to report at this time. 4. Why are you allowing numerous case safety and protection elements to be breached, violated, and manipulated? Why has the gag order never been implemented? A gag order never been implemented. Sounds like she's been watching some news on Kohlberger. What do you think? Because that's been the biggest talk about gag orders, well, and potentially Delphi. My case has turned into an unnecessary witch hunt, from the innumerable violations of my case details being leaked and racketeered illegally in exchange for website hits, viewer ratings, etc., in exchange for money. What is your cut, Your Honor? Ouch. I'm not sure that's something good you should say to your judge before you're going in front of him. You choose who knows what, where, and how in your courtroom. When did court minutes become live? Are you the one who authorizes the upload to the internet? It's all about how much rather than how did it happen. No matter the destruction caused in the meantime, and it is irreparable. Not even about the suitcase anymore. My case is now a global event, with the video receiving over 3 million hits, depending on the website. In turn, making me realize that's over 3 million less unprejudiced, unbiased, non-discriminatory, fair jurors I will have access to on my case. How is that going to work? Now what? 5. Factoring important private details should not be made ready and available for the world to know about before I, the defendant, does, correct? This is wrong, unconstitutional, unfair, and not how justice is supposed to work for anyone. I'm tired of having motives attributed to me that are unreal, assumed, and inappropriate. This is not legal. 6. This is what a trial is for, correct? 7. At this point, what can even be rightfully suppressed in my case? Once you ring the bell, it cannot be unrung. It's already been heard and seen. I don't even know where the bell is or who's ringing it. 8. When do I, the main component in my case, actually get to know, see, hear everything everyone else already has? When am I going to be included also? I completely agree with that. She should be aware of every single thing going on in her case. Absolutely. 9. When is the next status hearing you stated would happen before my PTC 7/11/23, my attorney's 1-year mark? Am I included? Yeah, she's quite aware of her pretrial hearing on 7/11. 10. What else can I do to ensure the productivity, communication, incorruptibility, appropriation, and intellectualism of my case? It is my right to know so I can begin or continue for true progress of any kind to finally be succeeded. Attorney Frank J. Bankowitz, where are you? Our last in person was February 15th, 2023, 3 months. Yeah, that's unacceptable again. 3 months, and she's supposed to be going to trial in July. 2. When is our next meeting? Remember, please, there are still time-sensitive matters pressing. FYI, in the 10 months of re-representation, here are the 6 meeting dates which have occurred so you can see prospectively the massive time gaps in which, while I have been sitting, eagerly waiting, wondering. 2022, July 14th, August 2nd, August 22nd, looks like September, October, November, December. She didn't get any visits. 2023, January 20th, February 3rd, February 15th, nothing in March or April or May to date. 3. Why aren't you fixing either of the 2 phone numbers you gave me upon your appointment back in July 11th, 2022? Every time I ask you about it's a different excuse. Much progress can be had in a very expeditious manner if completed. Why has it not been almost a year later? Why do you keep telling me to call when you know they don't work? As I said before, Public defenders answer their calls and reply to mail. Why are you unable or unwilling? See the difference it will make. You can't disagree with her. She's completely right. She should not be ignored by her attorney. 4. Our agreement made from one of my letters I wrote earlier this year after not hearing from you in a solid 5 months prior was to connect every 2 weeks with or without any significant progress. Why have you not been upholding this agreement even in a 15-minute video visit? Remember, a phone call is another option and not as difficult technologically. A working number is needed, just one. 5. What are your anticipated dates of completion for anything already discussed, and when do you actually show up for an in-person scheduled meeting? There are 1,000 little fires needing to be put out. You're holding the fire hose. Please see from my perspective the botched eye-rolling experience I am going through still and how I believe anyone would act or do in my sides doing the same. What would you do? Do not fault me in trying to make the best, most successful outcome possible for myself at every aspect in the convoluted predicament I am in and have been in over the last 3.3 years. I would rather be called a narcissist, pain in the ass, arrogant stranger, whatever else anyone wants to waste their time to think of. Just don't call me a murderer, which I am not. No one knows me except for the ludicrous insanity that's been made up, mocked, edited, and spewed all over the internet. It's not me. I'm hoping and praying my highly anticipated day will come, whenever that will be. It's God's timing. I continue to wait smiling. At least everyone will know I'm not sitting around eating bonbons, watching soap operas. Application is the product of the lesson. Give me my chance appropriately, correctly, and fairly in court. Unfortunately, my perspective of our justice system is incredibly dim and dull. I hope my overdue blinding light has shone brightly for all those to see a glimpse of how it really works. And being a system, we all have to work together to function in unison. Please help see the difference I'm trying to be and make. Waiting and wondering, keeping it real. Now what? Well, again, she's very well written. Whether you agree with all her stuff or not, I don't agree that she's not an alleged murderer, but beside the point, she's definitely well educated, and I have to say, a lot of the things she's telling this judge here and trying to reach out to her attorney, she's got massive amount of points here. There's no excuse for that at all. You know, I'm always for the victims. I'm always for those who suffered on behalf of a criminal or a suspect or a person, you know, what have you. But they all need their day in court. They deserve that. As much as we all don't like hearing that they're innocent until proven guilty, and there's a lot of cases that I cringe when we know for sure that we believe that they're not. That said, everything she wrote in here, I would say the majority of it, she's completely correct. Now, I don't agree with her toward the end there, but she should not have to be begging for her attorney to speak with her. And it seems like she can't even reach them by phone. She's had somebody else, a friend or what have you, try to reach the attorney to no avail. So I don't know where this is going to go. I haven't heard of an update since. My only concern is when she puts it out there to the judge about how much he's getting, for it. She got to kind of watch herself a bit on that. But, and as far as the whole wide world watching Sarah, well, I got to tell you, in this day and age, that's sort of how it works. And the public, for the most part, does have a right to, watch the legal system happen. So there are cameras in the courtroom. There's a few exceptions to that. But as far as her getting, connected to her attorney, Frank Bankowitz, and getting, her case set that she needs to have taken care of before her July 11th pre-trial. 100% agree with her on. So I really do hope that they figure this all out. Because, we've already had enough delays in her case. How many more setbacks do we need? She's been in jail since right before the pandemic. So, these delays, they get old, and then of course the excuse of, because of the pandemic. At this point, that's just done and over with as far as I'm concerned. So I'm hoping that this is finally going to get resolved. The bottom line is this attorney, Frank Mankiewicz, he needs to communicate with Sarah Boone. And he needs to make sure he keeps up his end of the bargain. And we also need to remember, he's paid for by us, the taxpayers. So as much as we may or may not like a defendant, regardless of whether it's Sarah or someone else, we are paying for these attorneys. They need to be doing their job. And for Sarah, that job is to be making sure he's communicating with her about her case and making sure that they are prepared for court in July so that they can get this trial underway and get this all taken care of. So, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens if she writes any more letters. I'll let you guys know. It's crazy to me that she's continuing to write, but at the same time, I do have to applaud her for standing up for herself. I really do. So, alright, that's all I've got on this one. Keep you updated on Sarah Boone, because again, her trial is supposed to be coming up in July. And like I've said before, I'm going to try to go for a day or two to the courthouse and sit and watch testimony once I actually figure out when it's actually going to take place. If it does take place on the 24th of July, I'll probably be in there within those first 2 or 3 days. So, alright guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And do me a quick favor on your way out. Hit the like button if you haven't already, if you like the content that you're seeing. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Alright guys, have a great night, and most of all, stay safe.